Hi, and welcome to our virtual gardening program. Today we're going to be talking about plants that attract birds and butterflies. My name is Diane Jaroch, and I'm the Assistant Director and Adult Services Librarian at the Irvin L. Young Memorial Library in Whitewater, Wisconsin. When you're thinking about planting plants in your yard for birds and bees, don't forget to check out the library. We've got a lot of books. This one is Gardening for Birds, Butterflies, and Bees. You'll find a wide variety. If we don't have it at our library, we can bring it in from another library. You can also go online to get information, or you can just talk to somebody at your garden center. When you're creating a space in your yard for birds, it's not only visually appealing, but it's also really good for the environment. The birds and the butterflies are really good for pollinating flowers. So I've got some plants here. Let me read to you a list of some of the plants you might consider purchasing for your yard to attract the birds, butterflies, and even the bees. Bee balm, cardinal flower, chrysanthemums, columbine, delphinium, penstemon, pincushion flower, salvia, verbena, lantana, and dianthus. I have some of those here. Here I have the lantanas. Got a purple and I've got an orange. That's kind of a pink purple. This is my verbena. That is also a nice pink. The dark pinks and reds really attract birds to your garden. And I have a salvia here that is going to be red. Hummingbirds really are attracted to the red salvia plants. There are shrubs that are also very rich, their flowers are rich in nectar, and those would be lavender, lilac, rosemary, bluebird, bluebeard, fuchsia, viburnum, cotoneaster, heavenly bamboo, and butterfly bush. So those are some of the bushes that you could plant that have flowers that are attracted. I know we have some lilac bushes, and the birds, especially the hummingbirds, are really attracted to them, as are the butterflies. Now, the seed-eating birds, they are really attracted to bright annuals such as cosmos, marigolds, sunflowers, cleome, and zinnias. I have some cosmos here. I've got some yellow. I also have some cosmos seed that I will be planting. I've got some zinnias. And I've got some sunflower seeds. I also have butterfly weed and a mix that this has cosmos and some marigolds and a bunch of other flowers that will attract the birds and the butterflies, especially the butterflies are going to like these. Some of the perennials that the birds and butterflies like are asters, coreopus, echinacea, elecampane, gold thistle, goldenrod, sedum, and milkweed. I've got a really large sedum plant in my yard, and it just keeps getting larger every year. It's very pretty. It flowers towards the end of summer. I do have an aster here. This is in the aster family. Nice purple plant, and it will get really tall. I also have some daisies, which these are very popular. This is two different kinds of daisies. Now, when you think about creating an environment for the birds, you need to take into account of everything the birds will need. So food, shelter, water, and their habitat. So first thing, you want to reduce your lawn area. If you just have lawn, birds aren't going to be real attracted to it. You need to have a lot of plants and shrubs and trees. So you want to reduce your lawn area. You want to plant mostly native plants, and the plants I have here are considered native plants. You want to layer your plants, such as the plants, the shrubs, and the trees. A couple shrubs, buttonbush and elderberry, those are really good. And a couple trees, native trees, are oak and dogwood. So you want to make sure that you incorporate some of those into your yard as well when you're trying to create a bird habitat. You want to have a wide range of plants. You want to have plants that flower in the spring into early summer. so that the birds can get the nectar and the butterflies. And you also want to make sure that you have the plants that have the seeds and the nuts towards the end of summer and fall so that the birds have something to feed on. You don't want to do a lot of pruning to your shrubs and your trees. The only time you really need to do that is if you're trying to cultivate more growth. Otherwise, you need to leave that there for the birds to have a place to nest in. Especially in the spring, you shouldn't be touching your shrubs and trees because the birds are trying to nest in those areas. And at the end of summer, don't worry about in fall getting rid of all the leaves in your yard. The more leaves, long grass, and brush piles you have, the better for attracting insects, which is what those birds need to eat to help keep them going. Leave your plants standing, like at the end of summer when your plants die, your native plants die. Don't pull them out of the ground. Don't cut them down, just leave them because they have seeds and other things that the birds can eat from. The seeds and nuts and things, and that's really important, both for the birds, the migratory birds, and the birds that stay around for the winter. Water. Water is very important. You need to make sure you have a source of water for birds, perhaps a bird bath. Puddles work. Maybe you have a place where water collects when there's rain and you could add water to it when there isn't rain. A pond is really nice. Anything water, because that's really important. And when you're caring for your plants, be sure you don't use insecticides. It's really bad. You don't want to use insecticides for the birds or the butterflies or bees. Not good. And choose only natural and organic fertilizers when you need to fertilize your plants. So some other plants, let's talk about that you can plant to attract songbirds. Some of these were on our other list, but there are some new ones. Sunflowers, coneflowers, black-eyed Susan, daisy, aster, marigold, Virginia creeper, elderberry, and staghorn sumac. And again, I've got a couple daisies here. I've got the traditional white, and I've got these pretty pink, and I've got the aster here, which was that pretty delicate purple flower. Plants that butterflies really like are Alyssium, aster, bee balm, butterfly bush, calendula, cosmos, daylily, and delphinium. And here's my cosmos, and I've got my seeds so I can plant some different colored cosmos. And again, here's the aster plant that they all like. And sunflowers, again, this has the plants, and again, this will have the seeds at the end of summer that the birds will really be attracted to. So again, when you're thinking about creating a bird sanctuary, remember to make sure that you have all of the elements that they need: water, nesting, food, shelter. That's very important. And don't forget that we've got lots of books at the library. And I will read some of those others for you again in case you wanted to take some notes. The seed-eating birds, they prefer bright annuals such as cosmos, marigolds, sunflowers, cleome, and zinnias. And the perennials that they prefer are asters, coreopsis, echinacea, elecampane, globe thistle, goldenrod, sedum, and milkweed. And some of the bushes were the elderberry and a tree like oak. Those are all very good. Hummingbirds and butterflies really like the bee balm, cardinal flower, chrysanthemums, columbine, delphinium, penstemon, pincushion flower, salvia, verbena, lantana, and dianthus. Let's go over some of the shrubs: lavender, lilac, roseberry, bluebird, fuchsia, viburnum, cotoneaster, heavenly bamboo, and butterfly bush. And you can purchase the plants already planted, or you can plant some seeds. The birds and the butterflies and the bees will be very happy. Now in May we are going to be taking a break from programming at the library, most programming, so there won't be any gardening programs in May. However, There will be a special May craft that you might be interested in. It is a bird feeder craft. So there will be everything you need in the kit to take home and make a bird feeder to go along with your plants for the birds and the butterflies. We are at the library. We are celebrating World Arbor Day. We are doing this in conjunction with the city. We are celebrating World Arbor Day on April 30th and World Bird Migratory Day on May 8th. That is why we're having the special craft that you can pick up on May 3rd at the library. Right now at the library we have field notebooks. We're encouraging people to pick these up, to take them with them when they go out. If you see a bird, or you want to make notes or make some little drawings of birds and trees and plants, please feel free to do that. We also have some tree identification sheets at the library and some bird identification sheets. So in honor of World Arbor Day and Bird Migratory Day, come to the library, pick up a field book. We've got some book displays. We also have some biographies on the birds and on the trees. So come in, get a field notebook, get a tree identification sheet, check out some books on how to garden for the birds and the butterflies and the bees, and see what you can come up with in your own yard. Thank you for joining me, and remember, come back in June where we will have more programs on gardening. Thank you.